Hello everyone, this is Diane. I have two journals to share with you today. These will be in my shop at 6 p.m. this evening. Today's Friday. What's the date? February 24th. We're almost done with February already. And I really enjoyed making these journals. As you know, I have some more in this with this shape of book to do. I have some fashion themed ones and some botanical themed ones. But today we have children's book themed. This first one is pink and turquoise. And isn't she precious? She came out of a vintage Mother Goose book. And this is a digital. These are just some border stickers I've had in my stash for a long time, and a Project Life card with the perfect color on it. I put some pretty fabric on the spine with some lace and some lace trim on the edge and a lace on the spine itself, and it is tied with a variegated seam binding. There are, let's see, 7 folded pages, so 28 pages in each signature, and there are 3 signatures. I used a lot of illustrations from children's books to decorate this and to create pockets and things, and it was really so much fun. There's a pretty pink and blue floral fabric in there. This is from a Mother Goose book. That's Wee Willie Winkie. And there's Little Bo Peep. This is a dyed tag I just tucked in there. There's a little pocket that I created with one of Amity Bloom's borders from her shop. I don't remember what shop that is from, but it's a linen that was converted into a tag digitally. And there's another little tag. Love this paper from Amity Bloom. There's a lot of Amity Bloom stuff in here. Here's a stamp I have from Graphic 45, and it goes along with this quote from the Robert Louis Stevenson poem about the swing. Some wallpaper, isn't that pretty? I've done a lot of gluing, like creating backgrounds with glued. So some of the pages feel stiff because there's a lot of glue and an additional layer. So this is another piece of an Amity Bloom paper, and this pink grid paper that I got from Mr. Pen. I actually ordered that pad. I showed it to you before. This pad right here. It comes with multiple colors on one pad. I ordered this from Amazon, but it was from the Mr. Pen company. I really like that paper. I used it quite a bit in these books. And this is from a Mother Goose book. I used some of my Dick and Jane fabrics. I love this one. I think this was my favorite piece because of the colors. And it reminds me of a Chutes and Ladders game or Candyland game. A little stationery note card from Hallmark. And a vintage piece of wrapping paper. One of my favorites that I've ever gotten. And on the back of it, I covered it up with Amity Bloom piece and a pink guest check, and then this little image from a Dick and Jane book. So it gives you a space to write. This is a page from a children's book. I think this is called Home from the Fair, this poem. And I covered the back side of it. It was more poetry from that book, but it was all black and white, and there's nothing wrong with that. It was nice, but I wanted to just decorate it, so I did. And there's a little spot here that you can write on. It's a little bridge tally. I created a little pocket here with a sparkly bright pink vellum. And this is a tag from a cut-off piece. I scanned a couple of my embroidery pieces a while ago, and I finally used some. And that was a cut-off piece, so I made a tag. And there's Sally from the Dick and Jane books. And this has a light enough strip here. You can write on that green. I love this picture with the steam rising. I thought it was perfect for this long, skinny book. Just draws your eye up. Here's the other side of that note card. I put some fabric washi on the flap. Love this. It came from a pattern, a paper pattern, an instruction book for making dolls' clothes. And there's a little strip of fabric on the side here. This came from my Dick and Jane phrase fabric. Unfortunately, I put this strip on after I had this glued on, but you can still see what the word is. There's a stamp here for the word dream. Stories that our brains tell while we're sleeping. If you can dream it, you can do it. Chase your dreams. And then it's hard to read. It just looks like a little squiggle up here, but it actually does say dream. This is Amity Bloom. This is scrapbook paper. A beautiful image from a children's book, vintage book. I backed it onto blue cardstock. This is a cut-off piece from one of the Amity Bloom pages. I glued it to the grid paper, and it had part of a phrase up here. So I had cut off the phrase so you couldn't read the whole thing, so I covered it with a leftover strip and then a little label. I stamped my label stamp on Vintage Ledger there. Second signature, you have this really, really pretty scrapbook paper. It says life is sweet. There's a little black and white image that I glued to pink cardstock. I tucked one of my colored index cards into the front of each signature. This page has two little pockets made with Amity Bloom borders. And the half-size index cards, I rounded the corners. And this is a little digital. I don't remember where I got it. It does go in there. I don't even know where this came from. It's a digital, and I had sprayed it previously. And I stamped this little girl just daydreaming. So I stamped the words, think happy, be happy. Here's a piece of wallpaper that's got a pink plaid. And I just glued a couple of pieces of cut-offs from Amity Bloom papers and this little bear that came out of a book. Love him. He's so adorable. There was a lot of printing here on the wallpaper, so I covered it with a scrap, again, of Amity Bloom. Added this little cutout from a children's book. And I tucked in a guest check and just a cut-off piece of scrapbook paper. I love this fabric too. I got it from the same estate sale where I got the Dick and Jane fabric. This is a nursery rhyme print. That's this. Oh, I thought it was the same fabric as on the inside, but it's not. Same colors. Here's a little note card with an adorable mouse watering her thimble of flowers. Another of my favorite wrapping papers. Adorable kittens. I didn't cover the entire surface of the wrapping paper this time, but a couple more pieces of Amity Bloom paper. This little cutout from that pattern page. This is from a children's book that had French songs. Put on the word encourage. Looks like she's encouraging him to jump over his blocks. On this page, I just added a couple little scraps of the pink grid paper, just so you could make little notes. And this was cut off of a vintage greeting card. Some more washi fabric. some fabric along the edge of the wallpaper here. Can't see much of the pink plaid on this side. There's a guest check and this little cutout from a children's book. Another stamp here says memories. Ability to remember information, experience, and people. The best thing about memories is making them. Another one of those cute little tags. That's another cut off from an Amity Bloom page. I added this little strip of leftover paper. I love this page. This beautiful illustration. Love the colors of that. And I love this paper. I added a label. And I made a long thin tag to tuck in there with this little mouse. And then this label that says month, day, year. This is a fun page. This is the third signature. And we have these little pink chicks go all the way up the side of the page. I glued that to pink cards or blue cardstock, and this was just in a ephemera set of yellow ephemera, and it says the winners of 1938. So maybe these chicks were the winner at the county fair. Who knows? And this, I think this was in the same set of yellow ephemera. So I just tucked it in there behind the chicks. I thought that just added that the perfect pop of color there, and we have a yellow index card too. This just has a merchandise tag glued to it, a half index card there. Oh, this has two tags. That must be Alice in Wonderland. There's the rabbit with his waistcoat and his watch. Another beautiful Amity Bloom paper. There's a stamp of Raggedy Ann and Andy and Be Kind, and wallpaper. Beautiful colors on that wallpaper. One of my library cards that aren't actually cards, they're papers. Perfect colors on those library cards and all the things in that set. There's only one set left in my shop of this ephemera that includes a lot of, you know, the guest checks and library cards and stuff like that. This is a really pretty fabric with this little doll and some paper doll clothes. And this plissé vintage piece with the perfect colors. And the green grid paper. Another adorable note card. This is like one of my favorite color combinations, the pink and the turquoise color. But I had so much fun with the other one, with the orange and green too. This is another wrapping paper. One of the digital embroideries that I scanned of my own. Amity Bloom paper. Little scraps up there. This is a children's book. And this is completely covered with the grid paper and Amity Bloom pieces, this little boy from a children's book, and one of the library cards. I made this on video, and I made this off video, just a little tuck spot with a children's book illustration, some scraps, a little piece of fabric. And this is one of the library papers that I cut down a little bit and then wrapped it around the edge of the page. This is the other side of that note card with that pretty girl. And this word says friend, a person you know well and like a lot, someone you can't get rid of because they know too much about you. This one is just a squiggle up here. I couldn't find the little friend word. Hopefully I'll find it when I clean up, but I couldn't find it when I wanted it. And there's Little Boy Blue and a Amity Bloom border. And on the back page we have a pink library pocket with a blue card. Oh, I've got to put I'll put my signature on there and glue it there. But this one is a little more card-like. It's still not very thick, but that came with the paper. I bought colored library pockets and cards. So that one is, I'll just call it pink and blue. I don't have any fancy name for them. This one is green and orange. It has the orange seam binding. This image came out of a vintage songbook. And I tucked in a Project Life card. This is a Project Life card with the holes in it. And this is a fussy cut from a digital. And this was just a piece I had in my stash. I backed it with the green cardstock. There's some green fabric, orange rickrack, the same trim on the edge, on the spine. I should tell you the measurement of these books. 4.5 by 9 1/4. The spine is 1.5 inches. Start right off with this beautiful deer image. And we have the same sorts of elements, but they're different. The pictures, illustrations from the books are different. Everything is different, but the pattern, I guess, is the same. So, tuck spot with an index card at the front of every signature. This is just a glued on piece, so don't try to pull it off because it won't come off. This is a digital that I actually fussy cut. I had 2 other pennant pieces on it, I think, that I cut off. So I'll use them for something else. A little scrap again for a pocket. This one is polka dot pixels. And the paper, the wallpaper in this book is all from the same wallpaper piece. It was huge. It had a huge design on it. And right here are the flowers, but the colors were perfect. And the feel of it, children's book, it was perfect. There's a cat from a children's Mother Goose book and a little bit of bingo card. There's some Dick and Jane fabric here. Little note card from Current. There's a guest check you can write on. This is scrapbook paper. I am going to glue that so I don't forget to do that. This corner didn't get glued down. This, I made a copy of an activity book that I had purchased at a flea market, and you'll get to see the picture on the other side, I think. I think I wrapped it around, I'm not sure now. This is The Owl and the Pussycat from a children's book. These are just a couple pieces I had in my stash. There's a little girl giving a rabbit his carrots, and there she is watching him eat it. And this is a little envelope that I made a long time ago. I finally finished it with the little circles and brads. And I just made, there's nothing on this little card. I just cut a card to tuck in there. Hopefully you'll be able to get it out. Yeah, there it is. Just blue cardstock. And it says thoughtful up here because she was so thoughtful in giving her rabbit the carrots. Here's another of the little tuck spots I made with the children's book images. And the other flashcard that we did on a video. I had this paper ruffle that I made a long time ago in my stash. So I added that and a Dick and Jane quote from fabric. It says, "Run, run, run." There's the other side of that wallpaper with the flowers. This one says "Dream." This is from a Graphic 45 wallpaper, or scrapbook paper. And I did a collage up here with one of the little bingo papers and a piece of the library papers. A couple of little pockets again. Here's from that wallpaper. There's a cat. Just did a little collaging up here. This fabric has some children's toys. And a circular stationery piece. Vintage gift wrap with cowboys and cowgirls on their white ponies. That little girl pushing her doll carriage. There's another bridge tally and another vellum pocket, sparkly green. Just a cut off piece of scrapbook paper. I like this page. I've had this bird image for a long time. It came out of one of those little Telltale books or something like that, but I've had it in my stash for a while. There's the girl with her rabbits again. Perhaps she purchased the rabbit and took him home and was feeding him the carrots later on in the book. Authentic. These are real cowboys and cowgirls. See it go. Here's a piece of that wallpaper for that cute little girl. This one says kind. Of a good nature, how we all should be. Kind people are the best people. Kind beats cool. I agree. That duck's ready to fight somebody. And the last signature has this cute little bear looking at the stack of dishes. A couple of tickets up here. And last piece of wallpaper. Dick and Jane fabric. Another vellum pocket. I like the rooster here. He looks he looks really nice with the orange and yellow of the scrapbook paper and Amity Bloom paper. This piece came out of a photo album. Another one of my digital, or my linens that I scanned. Made a copy of. And this one says friend again. There's a Kate Greenaway illustration on there. And this really old, I think this came from a book from the 30s. I love that picture. Look how concerned that little girl is. This little boy's crying. And here is a Beatrix Potter illustration of Jeremy Fisher on the library pocket. Aren't they fun? These were really fun to make. I had a lot of fun going through my children's book illustrations and picking out just the right thing to go on each. So I loved making these. I hope you enjoyed looking at them. And if you would like to own one, they will be in my shop at 6 p.m. this evening. What's today? Today's Friday. So they'll be in my shop at 6 p.m. I hope to see you there. But in any case, I'll see you in the next video. And have a creative day today. Bye-bye.